Doodle Bob and the Magic Pencil is a SpongeBob fan game made by Techno Super Guy, aka Ethan Wake, released in 2010 that is a continuation of the Season 2 SpongeBob episode, Franken-Doodle. The fan game itself has a lot of inspiration and interesting history, which is why in this video I will show the history behind the game between when the game started and now. I hope you enjoy. Doodle Bob and the Magic Pencil was originally a private project made for Ethan Wake's little brother Austin as an early birthday/Christmas present for him. The game started development a few months in advance in around September 2008, so it would be in time for Christmas, with the game being finished in December 2008, having it take 3 months of development. Doodle Bob and the Magic Pencil was made using GameMaker 7, which is a 2D engine created by Mark Overmars and developed by Yo-Yo Games that was released November 15th in 1999. The game uses MS Paint and GameMaker's built-in image editor to make the graphics, as that was the only thing he knew how to use. It was scripted also using GameMaker, and for audio he used WavePad or Audacity to rip voice clips from the show, while everything else was downloaded from various websites or YouTube videos. With that information in your head, I will now go over some inspiration/references that the game had and used during its development stage. Now, it should be noted that the creator is a big Mega Man fan, so the title screen for the game is a direct ripoff of Mega Man X for the SNES, with it being one of his favorite games. The music on this game is also Mega Man X because he thinks the game is awesome. The game uses MIDI files because GameMaker 7 was more MIDI focused for specifically music, and MP3 files had looping problems for Ethan's experience. Another reason is also because Ethan personally enjoys the sound of MIDI, as it reminds him of traditional 8 or 16-bit. Clicking New Game on the title screen will get you to the beginning cutscene for the game. The cutscenes in the game are specifically scripted to make Ethan's brother laugh and are a big hodgepodge of quotes and scenes from the SpongeBob show itself. Most of the music used in the cutscenes, or music in general, don't have any grand inspiration. All Ethan did was sift through tons of MIDIs online found from VG Music until he found some that best evoked the feel he went for. There's no inspiration in particular for this cutscene alone, the creator just wrote the script without much thought. SpongeBob telling you the controls for the game have nothing inspired, with no floor drawing mechanic being used in any other game, and the wasp-based movement is standard fare. The stage select screen is based off of Mega Man because, again, he thinks Mega Man is awesome. He wanted the levels to be playable in any order, so Mega Man style obviously made the most sense. Now finally, let's go over any inspiration/references for the stages, starting with Squidward. The Squidward stage uses the underwater theme from Mario. Now, it should obviously be noted that the design for the stages is based on a place from the show. In this specific stage, that would be Squidward's house, where Ethan referenced as much as he could remember, like Squidward's bad paintings or SpongeBob's wallpaper. The Doodle enemies are based off of those from the Franken-Doodle episode also. Now, the Squidward boss for this stage is Squidward using a powered up clarinet to fire notes at Doodle Bob while also flying. To beat him, you need to use your magic pencil to make balls for the notes to bounce back to potentially hit Squidward to damage the Doodle hairpiece that was originally powering up his clarinet. Squidward using the clarinet as a weapon was a pretty obvious choice to Ethan, and in the SpongeBob show, it's seen that the Doodle hairpiece can fly, so Ethan thought Squidward should also have that power. And destroying Squidward's Doodle piece and him getting mad about it is a reference to the same thing happening in the original SpongeBob episode. Oh yeah, it should also be mentioned, when completing a boss, a victory theme plays, that being Mega Man X's victory theme. This is also inspired by Mega Man X's victory for when you complete a boss. The Sandy stage uses the slide theme from Super Mario 64, and this time the drawings is based off of Sandy's Dome/Treehouse from SpongeBob. Remembering everything I've said about the stages for the game, there isn't that much to say about this specific one. The Sandy boss uses the Mario 64 Bowser theme. Sandy is normal for the cutscene for the most part, but after holding the Doodle Acorn for long enough, she turns into a monster because of the Doodle Acorn. During the Sandy boss, Sandy will first run around the boss area where you need to use the magic pencil to make a wall to get a height advantage over her. After she repeats this around 4 times, she'll then start jumping while also running around the area. Repeating this a couple times, the Doodle Acorn will then wear out for around 5 seconds. During this time, you'll need to break the barrier stopping the Nutcracker from the left from moving. After doing this, the Nutcracker, if timed correctly, will break part of the Doodle Acorn. Breaking it 5 times will destroy the Doodle Acorn and defeat Sandy. Now in this fight, Ethan could not pass up making Sandy into a monstrous hibernation form, specifically referring to the clip of Sandy turning into a monster in the SpongeBob episode Survive the Idiots. The boss is loosely based off of various Bowser bosses from the Super Mario franchise. The Patrick stage uses Sonic Adventures X Chao Garden as its stage theme and is based off of Jellyfish Fields. Like the Sandy stage, there isn't much to say about this stage besides the design for the level being based off of Jellyfish Fields from SpongeBob. Patrick Boss uses the Sonic Adventures Chaos Zero theme. For the Patrick Boss, Patrick will first shoot 4 paint bubbles at you, and after so, Patrick tries to make a huge paint bubble at you, and if this gets big enough, then you'll lose a lot of health. You need to click rapidly enough, and doing so will make the paint bubble into a weapon against Patrick. Doing this 10 times will end the fight. The battle was built around some of Ethan and Austin's favorite scenes from the SpongeBob show, such as Patrick inflating a giant paint bubble, him being beat up by Doodlebob's anvil / blowing ball, etc. The Mr. Krabs stage uses Gangplank Galleon from Donkey Kong Country and is based on the setting Krusty Krab from SpongeBob. As you can see, a lot of the design for this stage is based on the environment of the Krusty Krab, such as the barrels, tables, and a lot more. The Krabs boss theme is actually a snippet of a Sonic X episode. With Krabs being brainwashed by the Doodle Dollar, he will start running towards you and spin like a ball high in the air and home at you 3 times. After he does this, he will go either left or right to do an attack he calls Ketchup Control, where he blasts a laser with his Doodle Dollar from the opposite direction he is. You'll need to quickly make a wall to avoid this attack, and then he'll stop to rest for a couple seconds. You'll need to erase the platform under the burning Krabby Patty being made by the Crab Eagle Mondays machine in the ceiling to make it fall, burning the Doodle Dollar 5 times to end this fight. When Austin and Ethan were younger, they had a small Mr. Krabs plush toy, and for some reason they would find it hilarious to pretend it had super speed powers and they would hum Sonic X music during this. With this, Ethan thought it would only fit to recreate this insanity in this boss, complete with this generic nameless Sonic X music. Mr. Krabs' Ketchup Control move is inspired by Chaos Control, but with it working a lot differently. After you defeat all of the Guardians, the Doodle Lock will be destroyed and will unlock the door for the Chum Bucket, which is where the final boss will take place, using the Receive Weapon theme in Mega Man X. This cutscene, like others, is based on the one from Mega Man X, where you beat the 8 Mavericks in the game. The Plankton stage uses the Sonic 3 final boss theme, which is the same theme used in the beginning cutscene for the game. This stage, this time, like you guessed, takes place in the Chum Bucket, and most of the design for the stage is the same used in the beginning cutscene for the game, besides the beginning objects for the game. The Plankton boss uses the Live and Learn theme from Sonic Adventures 2, which is because Ethan also thinks that game is awesome. The boss is a bit of a complicated one. For the cutscene before the boss, Plankton gets Karen to download or upload the data from the magic pencil to a secret weapon and activate it with Karen warning him about the consequences. After this, he's now in his weapon called the Plankton Penciltron of Power. The music for this cutscene being Non-Aggression from Sonic Advance 3. For the Plankton boss fight, Plankton has 3 random attacks, doing all of them in a random order. Sometimes he'll fly up and down, shooting massive laser beams to the left, and you'll need to precisely jump or make a platform high enough to avoid it. Another he could do is him flying back and forth high in the air, shooting massive laser beams to the bottom that you need to run fast enough to dodge. Finally, another attack he could do is charge a massive energy ball from his head to aim it straight at you while targeting you. It'll stop targeting you to throw it at you for a few seconds, which is your chance to escape the radius of it. Refusing to avoid this will cause a lot of damage to you. After he randomly attacks you a few times, he will fire homing missiles at you, which is where you need to use the magic pencil to make a wall for the homing missiles to bounce back to hit Plankton, almost like the Squidward boss fight. You need to get 10 homing missiles to hit him back in order for the Penciltron to be destroyed. Now, the Penciltron is based on how Ethan loves anything involving giant robots / mechas, so with this, the Penciltron was a natural choice for the final boss. The design isn't based on any mechas in particular, however. He had drawn the design in just a few minutes and didn't give the design another thought. The attack where he charges up a huge energy ball over Herd and shouts "The end has come" was inspired by a scene where Super Mario Bros. Z, where Mecha Sonic does that, and the voice clip is stolen from that scene. After defeating Plankton, Doodlebob laughs at Plankton and he gets crushed by a 10-pound object. After this happened, Doodlebob heads home with SpongeBob and his friends he saved. He then returns to the pencil world he was in when the game first starts as a way to repay him. This cutscene is just another collection of jokes and references from SpongeBob. After that, it's finally the credits for the game. Using the credits theme from Mega Man X, not much to say about this besides it crediting all the things it really has to. After the game was finished in December 2008, the game was forgotten about for a while. That is until almost 2 years later. You see, Ethan held onto the game for over a year and he didn't think much of it, because he thought it was just a bad game with sloppy graphics he made as a gift. However, it eventually occurred to him that it was one of the only complete games he had actually developed, so he decided to post it online around June 2010. It got a lot more attention than he expected, which he almost immediately regretted because of the bad graphics he made using MS Paint. He would then go to release an official trailer for the game onto YouTube on July 7, 2010. This would then spark the game to lots of attention coming from not only limited to YouTube, speedruns, and live streams, and a whole bunch more most likely. The game is probably still played to this day. After all of this, years later, something then would happen. Doodlebob and the Magic Pencil DX Doodler's Cut. This is the official remastered version of the original popular SpongeBob game. With the announcement of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated in 2019, it had inspired Ethan to remaster his own game. It had finally given him an excuse to correct the character art and tweak some problems with the gameplay. With this being the case, Ethan started development on this new remaster in around March 2019 and finished in September 2019, released onto Game Jolt on September 29, 2019, that taking 6 months, which is double the amount of time it took than the original. This version used GIMP instead of MS Paint to improve the graphics. With this in mind, it's time that I now go over some of the changes to this remaster. To start off, it's clear to see from the start that the title is a direct reference to Sonic Adventure's remastered version, Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. Also, the title screen got a complete revamp. And also, the music has changed from using MP3 instead of MIDI files. The reason for this was because a lot of people complained about it, so we decided to finally step into the world of MP3. We actually put a YouTube playlist of the OST for the game, so if you want to check that out, I'll provide a link in the description. Some other things is that the game is now widescreen, aka 16:9, and not 4:3. Save files are also saved in a different location to make it so you don't need to rebeat the game if you happen to want to replay it again. Also, not to mention, there's an actual pause screen. Well, not a bland one, that is. Another major thing that's improved from the original is the graphics, which have a lot more time and effort put into them, unlike the original game that was rushed because of the time Ethan had before Christmas. The narrator cutscene, aka the cutscene you get after you click New Game, now uses the SpongeBob font, and the theme was changed to traditional SpongeBob music to make it feel like it's the beginning of a real episode. Something else major that was changed is the gameplay. A general overview of the changes is instead of having a lot of health, you can now only take 5 hits before you die. Also, the notorious quote-unquote exploit where you can just go above the stage and skip the entirety of a stage is fixed with an invisible wall. Also, you die when you're only at 1 life and not 0, because Ethan thought it was weird if you kept playing a game with 0 lives, and that in his mind you should already be dead. So he eventually changed that. Most of these changes were because Ethan always felt the original game was far too easy, where levels could effectively be plowed through without doing anything, because being hit by an enemy barely affected Doodlebob's health. Most of the bosses can be avoided altogether by drawing a floor up high and hiding in the sky, and so we wanted the game to be about strategy rather than an invisible player waiting for the bad guys to die, so enemies are a lot more damaging to Doodlebob. The dialogue for the Squidward boss has changed a bit. Also, if an note bounces off a wall, that wall will be erased, and not to mention, when defeating a boss, the screen fades in and out in general. The Sandy stage in general contains more enemies, and Sandy will now destroy any wall/platforms made by Doodlebop when she jumps in the boss fight. This stage has different music other than Chao Garden, as this one being Jellyfish Fields from the Battle of Bikini Bottom, because this one fits more with the actual theme. The boss for this stage has a lot of changes gameplay wise, with one being that jellyfish spawn heading towards you while Patrick makes a giant paint bubble. With this making it so you have to be careful when destroying the paint bubble. However, for compensation of this, when Patrick charges up his bubble, it takes less clicking to reduce the size of the paint bubble. The Mr. Krabs stage has the design based more solely off the actual Krusty Krab with its improved graphics. The boss is where things in this stage get a bit more interesting. First to mention, the theme is now changed to using a remix of a popular theme that played in SpongeBob known as World's Smallest Violin. This was changed because the Sonic X music was extremely repetitive and low quality, and Ethan couldn't find a better version of it online and had originally recorded it from a Sonic X DVD. Nobody understood the Sonic reference besides Austin and Ethan anyway because it was an inside joke. Mr. Krabs moves a lot faster than normal. This actually freaked me out when I first played this fight, and the Ketchup Control, now known as Final Cash in this remaster, deals more damage to you than in the original. The Final Cash voice line is actually voiced by Austin Wake himself. There is also this kind of annoying bug that was fixed where you would constantly be damaged if you were standing next to Mr. Krabs during the Ketchup Control attack. Besides any design changes, there's nothing really to be said about this stage itself. However, the boss for the stage is to be noted. There's a completely new Penciltron design for the boss. This is because Ethan loves mechas, but the original Penciltron design was kind of an afterthought. He was pretty unhappy with the design looking back at it, saying it looked like an armored Viking or something. So it was redesigned with a more obvious pencil vibe, as well as a more mecha-like appearance. Some more things to know for this boss is that there's also better animations for the boss in general, such as the purple fire-like boost design, laser beams. Some voice lines for this boss have also been changed, like for example, the energy ball attack. And finally, for the attack where Plankton is high in the air shooting beams at you to below, Plankton is now faster when doing this attack. There could be potentially more changes to this, but those were the ones spotted. Finally, the credits. The credits credit most of everything seen in the game, as well as provide the names of the music used in the remaster. You can also see the credits in the download folder. With all that out of the way, the game's trailer that was shown earlier would release on September 29th, 2019, with Austin Wake voicing the trailer as Plankton, with it showing off the new features while also kind of poking fun at the original game. And like the original Doodlebop, this one was received positively, giving others nostalgia and being played by many YouTubers. As an outro to this video, Doodlebop and the Magic Pencil started out as a simple birthday present for the creator's younger brother, but then turned into a full-fledged remastered version, fixing many of the dying issues the original had. Both of the games have gotten tons of attention from various communities and have sparked a lot of support over the years. The game has definitely given nostalgia to us when we were kids, and it probably shouldn't be forgotten about for real. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I want to thank the creator himself, Ethan Wake, for helping me make this video, giving some background detail and such when making the game, as well as some inspirations. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!